Greetings, THL. Welcome to Schoolstone, your Saturday and Sunday afternoon show, bringing you some of the hottest matches. This week we're doing Octathlon, and I am joined by a very special guest here, Geranium Battle. Welcome, Geranium, to the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. I am on this Easter day. I am looking very forward to egging on our competitors. I hope everybody has a great game, great matches.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one. I'm very excited. I mean, we're going to start with Specialist. Yes, Specialist is back from wherever it went. And our first match is going to be Bone Masher from Team Full Dust Value versus Nice Jewish Owl from Milo's Menagerie in a very spicy Specialist match. And that is going to be followed by Bunny from Milo's Menagerie versus G-Kick from Full Dust Value again. So we're seeing the same teams twice, playing in Last Hero Standing. Um, we have a lot of
Yeah,
classes represented today.
yeah, we've got Warrior, which is something that not many people have brought. We've got some very unique brings in Bunny versus G Kick's match with even a hero power mage being
Yeah,
brought. All around, some very interesting matchups going to happen. Not stuff that you'll see normally on ladder.
definitely not. Ladder right now is basically Libra and Paladin versus no minion mage. So let's zoom into our first match. So Bone Masher is bringing a, I don't even know how to describe his rogue. It's a tempo rogue that can become post and can become secret, somewhere in the middle. While my Nice Jewish Owl is bringing a control warrior. So let's take a quick look at the deck lists. Again, specialist, it's a best of three where the players start with their primary deck, and then after the first match, they can transition into one of them. So, how do you feel about these decks? Tell us a little bit about the list and about what you were thinking here.
Well, I think that Night Jewish Owl is bringing a lot of removal, um, and is probably going to outvalue the Rogue in the very first game, unless there's some key shadow steps, and maybe even in the second game, because in the second game I expect there to be probably a transition to the second Rogue, the one that has the Cargo Battle Scar. The
Sure.
third Rogue, the one with secrets, also has quite a lot of value, but the Cargo has all the board presence that you can get with that shadow step. Weird though that he's removing the Tenwu from that second deck. It's like removing one of the shadow steps, one of the ways to get the value, get the board presence. So sort of a power up and power down for Bone Masher.
Yeah, the Tenmu can be so good in this deck. I'm very surprised he removed it. Mhm.
The warrior though, I actually think is probably going to stay on the first deck. I think that the second deck has some great control options against some very heavy powered decks with the Silas, with the Vol'jin, but I think that it doesn't have sort of the board clearing power, doesn't have some of the
Right.
armor gain that the first list has and needs.
Right. I think this deck was more for a Demon Hunter like OTKDH. Because OTKDH does not want to face that many oozes, that many Vol'jins. Just pulling out your Il'gynoth early would be the end of the game. Or Armor. Armor Vendor can play a role. As well as a good deck to play against, really against Weapon Rogue, which is not what we're going to see today.
Yeah, Vol'jin also would have been great against probably Libram Paladin. Not necessarily Secret Paladin, but the Vol'jin is very, very good against the 8/8 Divine Shield that you get off of Libram of Hope. You just
True.
swap it with the Penflinger, kill the Penflinger, and a lot of the attack power of your opponent's deck has gone offline.
Yeah. Especially since you're running Coerce, that can be really strong. Um, I think the interesting part is the little secret package as well that the Rogue is playing. They're bringing Hanar two secrets and two stunners. As attack really against slow Libram Paladins, because that can be pretty good, and some of the control decks, but I don't think that is as good against Warrior. Hanar can cheese games, but I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, and the Stunners don't have that many good options against Milo's deck. Really, just the Rattle Gore that I can see, but most of the other things that Milo's bringing get value on Battlecry when they come out, when they rush.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's the power of Rush and how Hearthstone has kind of become more of a rush game, so I think we're going to see a lot of that. With that, I believe um I just want to make sure I have both players added and we can start.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the what Milo is going to be looking for is getting those board clears at the right moments, getting the right combos together. And I'm not sure with a lot of the draw concentrated in the weapon whether he's going to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. Let me Oh, perfect. So, I believe they are okay. Just gave them the green light whenever they're ready. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a good match still, even though I feel like the Warrior has to be favored just from its controlling nature and the fact that the Rogue doesn't have as many threats. If he can get an early Cargol, that can just be game winning.
Yeah, when Rogue has cargo on the deck, the win rate does jump quite a bit. So much
Yeah.
so that it's 55 to 45 in favor of the Rogue, but it's not going to necessarily play out like that. The Rogue does still have to draw all of the power cards.
Yeah. That being said, Rogue draws a lot. This deck, with the new field contact, you can easily get um, 5 cards out of a single 3 drop a lot of times. And all those flinging space.
Yeah, and without some of the Sworden boards and some of the other early removal, it might be a little bit difficult to deal with an early field contact.
Yes. Yeah, there's no sword and board, which deals perfectly with the target. Shield Slam is a card that also Shield Slam lost its what'd you call it? Brother? Like best friend? I don't even know what to call it, but Shield Slam without Shield Block is just a lot weaker of a card.
Warrior without shield block is
Yes.
a lot weaker.
Yeah. Um, with that, I think they're queuing in, so let's go watch. Soon as friendless let me. Okay. I was going to say they're starting with this list versus this list, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're starting with their first list.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not very convinced of Cthulhu and Warrior. I know a lot of people like it, but I feel like that's a little bit too slow. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it does allow even just one more board clear. Some of the Cthulhu spells are very good control pieces, but yeah, with the low draw power of Warrior, sometimes, like especially in this game right now, we can see the only draw spell in hand is that stage dive. Might not be able
Mm-hmm.
to get to the deck. Might not be able to get those Cthulhu pieces.
Yeah, and the rogue here has a pretty good play in just throwing the efficient Octobot and saying it's quite rare that you're going to be able to clear this without triggering the frenzy. Minefield doesn't work.
Yeah, Minefield will still trigger the because one damage is dealt before the other four damage is dealt.
Yeah, and here we could even see a Penflinger into Swindle, which would be so good.
I
I,
think, yeah, just getting the draw off the Swindle as soon as possible, getting the Shadow Step for this Jandis. Jandis is one of the highest power cards in your deck, so establishing that board early is great.
yeah, and just making you also discount the Jandis, so this looks really good to me if I'm Bone Masher. I'm pretty happy going with a Flinger into the Swindle.
My question is maybe we send the Penflinger face. We don't necessarily need the discount right now, but it looks like he's going for it anyways.
I think it's good just to have that discount. Whether or not it's going to take place when I am not sure. But this is a
I mean, part
Jandis Shadow Step. You can Temu the Jandis afterwards. We're going to have a Jandis Fiesta bit.
we can even get it next turn, and I think that is what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And in addition, a prize plunderer to clear off this Kargath seems great.
Yeah, you would need to play the coin if you want the prize plunder to clear, right? Or am I mathing wrong?
Yeah, you need to play one extra card. So you could either uh, yeah, it looks like the
Oh,
Penflinger into the Kargath and then clearing it, or in this case, we're going to see just a pure contact draw turn.
sure. This is a good brain freeze here, just as a way to get some cards out of the way, keep pinging face, and kill this Kargath
Turns,
pretty easily.
yeah. Uh, I like it better than using the coin here to return the Penflinger.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure of this play just because I really wanted Jandis on 4. It's just such a strong play, and I think not playing it makes you weaker. But I understand what Bone Masher's trying to do with just make sure he has more cards to do his stuff.
Plus, it could bait a removal from Nice Jewish Owl that he might not need to use just yet.
I think it should. It's a really strong card to leave just alive there. It can do too much. And yeah, you want to drop the body of Cthulhu, but can you actually afford? Well, we know you can afford, but can you afford to give extra cards to your opponent's hand? It's actually fine in practice, but okay.
Milo choosing to not do anything, not even playing out the body of Cthulhu.
Honestly, I like this play. It helps
Yeah,
his shield slam feel powerful, although I would have used it here as a easy clear. But I think we're going to see the Jandis with a Shadow Step at this point, and then probably coin something.
the only bigger stuff that I'm really looking forward to use this shield slam on is the minions that you get off of Jandis, and two rushers is something that I would have liked to have seen last turn. Wouldn't have even needed to use the prize plunderer to clear off the Kargath.
Yeah. Tenmu's not great here because it only costs you this turn, so I would go with the Shadow Step. I would have also Flingered at this point, but well, Flinger has hand concern, so never mind. You can just drop the Octobot here or not.
I guess we're. I guess he's trying to save the Octobot in case there's the Lord Barov play, or in case there is some larger brawl or anything like that from Nice UHL. But we can see only the Lord Barov would be the main punish in hand.
Right. Now, Nice Shao does need to deal with this because there's a lot of potential damage. He can Samuro. I believe the 5/5 Rhino is the one that's living, so that's going to be a bit of face damage. Yeah.
And I think here we're probably just going to see another Jandis. The board is already able to be cleared, and we are able to return it.
I don't hate the Og Merchant actually. The Og Merchant at the 5/4. You can price blunder the 1/3 after playing a few cards. I'm not sure what you're really trying to do, but you can get your efficient Octobot reduced in cost and all your flingers reduced in cost as well.
I wouldn't also mind the efficient Octobot plus the Guardian Og Merchant,
Right.
just to discount the Tenwu, discount the Jandis, and maybe even still go off this turn.
Sure.
But no, just another Jandis is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to play a third Jandis here though.
No, definitely want to save it for the other Shadow set that you are going to get later.
I did want more face hits. I think there just haven't been enough of them. You could have played a Price Plunder, which really isn't that important in this matchup. And Rancor can actually do a lot at this point. Rancor Minefield is a clear.
Or even Hero Power Shield Slam Rancor.
Yeah,
Wouldn't quite full clear, but is extremely close.
yeah. In our card review, we did have Rancor, or Base had Rancor as not a great card. And I mostly agree, but I think it's going to put a lot of effort in this particular match.
Yeah, especially when the rogue is just trying to pressure down, remove that armor. Getting a huge amount of armor in one turn with Lord Barov and Rancor is going to be one of the key things that'll have Milo win this match.
Yeah. This is not a clear, but not a bad play. You can get some things out of the board. And we are probably going to see the Jandis for one more time, because haven't seen enough Jandises yet.
Maybe even Jandis into Secret Passage to possibly draw that third Shadow step.
Um,
Even a fourth Jandis would be just icing on the cake.
True. We haven't seen Kazakus yet, though. And Kazakus is on the list. It is the 4-drop. We haven't seen Mankrik either. These are both cards that could have a pretty good impact. Now we're going to see Rancor into Shield Slam. Honestly, that's a better combo than I thought. I just realized that.
Yeah, Shield Slam did lose its shield block, but there's still a lot of armor gain you can find.
Yeah. And here, Bone Master goes for the Secret Passage turn with the Flingers on board, so if he draws spells, they're just going to be cast away with a lot of pings to the face as possible.
Here, the Shadow Step would have been drawn last turn if we had gone for it, but uh, honestly, here, maybe some hand size concerns because the hand was quite large once we last saw it,
True.
and now we're going to be returning these the Mankrik and the Penflingers to that.
Yeah, I personally would have gone with already playing the Mankrik and just doing one of the flings, but this is fine. Um, your opponent, yeah, we know they have the card that they actually wanted to answer here, the Body of Cthulhu, but I'm not sure how enough that is to answer the current hand.
Certainly, looking at next turn might just be another Secret Passage.
Um, you could also just Miracle actually, or just play stuff. Just have a turn where you fill the board, play a lot of your smaller minions, and say, here you go. Can you clear this?
Well, Warrior can certainly clear that, is the problem. And while technically Bowmaster doesn't know this, there is, of course, Rancor and Brawl and Minefield and the Prime in Milo's hand. And so there are quite a few different ways that Nitro Shower can clear this.
Yeah, but these are quite a few minions, and even though, yeah, he can clear, he can basically do whatever he wants, and it's going to be fine. This is a little bit annoying. Another interesting point is if Nice Yushao gets Kazakus here, he might just go for the 10 mana Kazakus. And that could be very interesting. Mankrik's wife is not
And this is
playable
still.
yet. He shouldn't play it because that would just mean nothing
Oh
happens.
no.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
'cause he didn't know that interaction.
no, it's a pretty new one. That is a very good Mask of Cthulhu. I would have liked to see the second Cult Neophyte because you just don't want to draw it anymore.
Notably, once Mankirk's wife does get a mana cost, because the mana cost is supposed to be 3, then it will be castable from hand. But in this early state, it just does not cast when you draw it off of the secret passage and then play it.
Right. Something to remember is that Hearthstone has been a little bit buggy for those of you who didn't notice or who weren't around the last few days. So that's just something um, to think about.
Okay, and now here we can start getting into the huge damage potential, but honestly, with this much health, I'm not sure that he's going to get there.
Yeah, I am not sure either. I think there's going to be quite a bit of damage this turn, but you need Kazakus, you need the Mask of Cthulhu to hit big. The Ogre is actually pretty good. You wanted the second one as well, for sure.
Well,
That's probably
unfortunately,
not
the
enough.
310 the 310 is still quite easily dealt with by Warrior. There's Brawl, there's Lord Barov, there's even now this Kargath Prime floating around in the deck. I mean, technically, didn't need to be in Ashurashal's hand, but here it is, and now it's a problem.
Yeah, it is. The Horde Operative is a very weird tech card. I am not super convinced of it as a tech for Secret Paladin, but a possibility, I guess. I think at this point you want to make sure you don't have your Field Operative by the end of the turn,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're going to die.
The other problem is I think we should probably trade in this field contact. Now we're actually completely milling out.
Yeah. We need to get our one thief out. We need to get our Kazakus out so we can get a 10 mana Kazakus minion for next turn. Mm, I have to say, this doesn't seem like enough to me, but maybe a miracle could happen. I don't know. This is gonna be rough.
Given that these are our cards now, I don't necessarily think Rogue can get there. There's still quite a lot of good removal from the Warrior. And those necessarily weren't the best potions. Going to go with the give minions +4/+4 if we can stick a board, but don't think Warrior will let us have that.
The Potion of Illusion could have been really good here. I'm kind of sad that he didn't take it, because that's a way you can bring back Kazakus and go quote unquote infinite. That was actually, in my opinion, the best way to get a win. You could just drop the big golem and make everything big right now. But no, he's playing very greedy, which I don't know how much I like at this point.
Well, I mean, at this point, the Rogue just sort of has to play into the outs of the Warrior and hope the Warrior doesn't have them, but the Warrior does have them here.
Oh yeah.
And I think
These
with
swingers
these
could have gone
final minions
face.
being played,
I think his hope is that there's just no clear, and he can drop the 10 drop and then play the Mask of Cthulhu the turn after.
And I mean, the health is getting quite low. If this board did survive, then we might see a win from the rogue. But I think with this, there's just not enough pressure, not enough minions left to actually win.
Yeah, the superior golem, can it be killed?
I mean, very easily with Lord Barov in hand.
Not with divine shield.
With the I guess in this case, the Lord Barov also does not die to the Blade Storm in the first place.
Is Flinger, Mask of Cthulhu. They're actually one off here. So he can just Guardian Arg Merchant and hope.
Well, unfortunately, with that Alexstrasza top deck, the Alexstrasza can actually target the rogue's face, deal 8 damage, and
Yeah.
then fatigue draw for 4 for lethal.
So does Nice Jewish Howl notice that?
Well, if he doesn't, then he doesn't have many other options.
No.
Um,
He needs to realize that the Alex can go face for lethal.
Morsan Elite, Morsan Elite and Hero Power is just going to end up with death. Lord Barov still doesn't clear because this has Divine Shield again.
He does
And
notice
he
it.
doesn't.
Yep. So the first match, as we kind of expected, the Rogue does not beat the Warrior, but it was much closer than I think we both give it credit.
Yes, right near the end, just some of the board clears ended up with that Divine Shield, and the 10-10 ended up being just barely not able to work. Maybe if the board Barov was used in a different place and a different board clear was like the minefield was saved, or some
Yeah,
small little
I
interactions.
think there were a lot of moments where Rancor could have been played that it just wasn't, and that would have been enough to turn the match. But Milo does take the first game as the Warrior, and now can he beat 2 of the games with the Cargo in the deck? Assuming that's the route Bone Master goes.
Well, in order to get the cargo online and in order to get the cargo Shadow Step, there's a lot that needs to happen from this rogue. So it might give Milo enough time to actually draw all the answers that he needs. We'll have to see.
That's right. So we are going to see here the Tower Rogue. I assume that now he's playing Towers versus the Warrior. And that's a turn 2 Tower, which is so powerful even against Warrior.
Turn 1 Swindle, turn 2 Tower is extremely good start.
Yeah,
And
you
it
could
seems like
even
nice.
coin Tower on 1. I don't hate coin Tower here. Just saying, hey, I'm going to start increasing the cost of stuff, but coin Swindle is true that it activates it.
Yeah, I think the problem with Coin Tower is that it means your turn 2 isn't going to be very good. But in this
That
case,
is true.
just even saving the coin completely.
Yeah, and you can go Flinger into Swindle on 3. No way to clear this tower yet, so we are going to see the tower stand strong, and we could see a second tower here. Yeah,
Well, with the weapon and the Morsan Elite, we're actually going to see quite a lot of tempo from this warrior, though.
we are. The weapon is really good, and there was no weapon last time. This is going to take damage though. If he attacks the Mortian Watchtower, that means damage.
I was actually a bit interested in attacking the Morshan Watchtower there, just because it allows a easy clear with the Kargath into the 2/4 Watchtower, and then you wouldn't get a 2/2 from the Morshan because you would kill it if
Right,
you attack first.
right.
Oh, but in this case, the minefield doesn't exactly quite clear, but it is very close.
It's very close. We could see a minefield into cutting class, and then trading into whatever you think is the best target to trade into. Both of them are pretty bad just because of the way the life totals lined up, and it ends up being a 1 damage missed.
In this case, though, the Rogue just doesn't have a lot of its power cards yet. So, and it also doesn't have a lot of its draw. So you might actually see quite a few turns of almost nothing in the Rogue.
Yeah, we could see just Flinger or Hero Power. I think this is fine. You're looking for field contact, you're looking for Jandis, Kazakus, just cards that do something. Not Shadow Step. But you can
Yeah,
use your Flingers here with your Brain Freeze and your Price Plunder. But don't see the Rogue being in that bad of a position.
I think yeah, we're going to see some pen flingers. Going to see the prize plunder clear off the last of the 4/4 taunt brigade.
Mm-hmm.
But after this, with quite a few more power turns coming from this warrior, with the draw still coming from this warrior, I'm not sure what this rogue's going to do.
Yeah, he needs to draw something strong now. There's really no time to do anything. He needs a Jandis, he needs Kazakus, he needs um, Kargath. Kargath would actually be fine. Just getting 4/5/5s and returning one to hand is really good.
I mean, with the warrior still taking quite a bit of damage, though, you might see some pen flinger pressure. We've got the wicked stab here too. Uh, doesn't necessarily have to have the power cards if the opponent's just dead.
That's true. And we could see some flingers, even a prize plunder here. That's a way you can just keep hitting your opponent in the face. These 4/4s, yeah, they're good, but they're not that good. They're not in this point. This card, I think, Morshan Elite, at least in the current meta, was very overrated. It just isn't performing how people thought it would. And now we can see just flingers going face and their thing. I think this could have been a little bit different, but I'm not sure what was the correct way to. It is fairly exposed to Samuro.
Yeah, a very clear turn from the warrior here, but still no clear direction for this rogue.
Yeah.
Vision
Yeah.
Akabot doesn't even reduce that much.
No, I think you can drop it and just say, here, I'm just going to take this turn to hit face. The problem is you're giving the warrior the chance to play the card that they want to play the most, which is the Shield Maiden, or even the Rattlegore. Rattlegore means you're putting a clock. Rattlegore is
Not even
saying, I'm
angry.
going.
Yeah, Rattlegore, extreme pressure, and since this is not the secret version, there's not even a good way to remove it. This
No.
might just be the closing out stage.
Yeah, when the rogue just had no basically draw, that's just not enough. I think one of the big issues with this deck is just consistency. Well, and the deck is not that great either. This was part of the issue with having a tournament this early into a meta. Not everyone's playing Deca Lunacy Mage
Or Paladin,
or
the
Paladin.
two the two best performing decks.
Yeah, by far.
We missed two Penflingers this turn, but not sure that that's going to matter. There's only going to be another 12 damage from hand, which if we draw the Mankrick's Wife, so we have three in the deck, this can be lethal, but
I mean, you can play
we have to
Alex
be
if
gearing
they
up.
don't clear. If they don't clear the Rattlegore, you're just Alex. I would have
If the
wanted
rogue,
the axe, because the axe could have hit face instead of the hero power. You're not in that much danger of dying, so you can just equip the axe.
ooh, this is maybe a little bit interesting. With the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad, there is a way for you to steal the Rattlegore. It's just that you'll also go down to 6 health.
Yeah.
And I think here, though, there's not much more for this rogue to do. Uh,
You needed
Weapon's
a
going to come
taunt.
down. Actually, even the Alex Strauss is going to kill next turn.
Yeah, there were a few dead turns, and that was just not enough.
It's really just if the rogue had drawn all three Mankrick's Wives, then there would have been lethal. But without that, this is it. Alex Straza for lethal 2 games in a row for a 2-0 victory.
Yup. And that means Milo, Nice Jewish Owl, wins this one. Wow. It was faster than I thought. But a strong showing from both players. How do you did this go the way you feel?
I based on the actual performance of these decks on ladder, it was looking more to be Rogue favored, but Rogue has quite a few other decks to feast on, whereas this Warrior just has so much removal, and in an open list format like Octathlon, I feel like the Warrior has the edge, able to see exactly what threats your opponent's going to have. Knowing that Jandis is the highest thing on their curve helps a lot.
Yeah,
So
that is true. I think a
So I
lot of
think that
it's just not as
sorry, go ahead.
consistent as it used to be. You don't have the insanity that Rogue used to have. And I'm going to add Milo right here for an interview. Okay, and this always takes a little while because word I need a friend request the person. And now we have Nice Jewish Owl joining us. Congratulations, Nice Jewish Owl, on winning today's match.
Thank you, thank you.
How did this match feel? Did it go as you expected? You brought the Warrior, which wasn't a very common class here.
Uh, yeah, I was the only one who brought Warrior, and probably one of the only people who brought Warrior across all of the series, except Wild. I mean, game two definitely, I think, sort of showed what the deck does a lot more than game one. Because, like, game one, I drew the answers, but I believe both of my weapons and both of my cutting classes, I didn't see that game. And the deck really struggles a lot more when it doesn't get those card draw pieces.
Yes.
Yeah, I think game one, I felt like I had it in the bag, and then I saw the Divine Shield 10-10, and I went, oh crap, I've got the wrong answers in my hand. I don't know if I
Yeah.
win this anymore.
Honestly, if he had played that card one turn earlier, he probably would have won. Even with the brawl, there was just enough there to start chipping you down with that Mask of Cthulhu afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a good while on that final turn trying to figure out how I would not die, and then I went and moused over that fatigue card over on the left side of the screen. Wait a minute, he's at 12. He's taking 4 next turn. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were talking about that. I didn't notice the lethal at first, and then Geranium said, "Oh, there's lethal there." Oh right, that is lethal with Alex. Let's see if Nice Ujala was going to notice that one.
Yeah, just an extremely scary end though, with Lord Barov plus your other removal options just barely not being able to clear off that Divine Shield 10/10.
Yeah, I think really well played by Bone Masher saving that Guardian Og Merchant for the 10/10. Because
Hmm.
if he didn't have the Guardian Og Merchant, I would have been able to clear it pretty easily. Um, it feels bad, honestly, that he lost just because of that bug with Mancrick in game one. Like
Yeah,
I don't really feel like I deserve to win that game,
I think you
but
played well.
I did.
The Mancrick bug. I mean, the game is more buggy than it should be right now, and we all know of it. Um, there's so many cards that are breaking the game in so many ways. So what I want to ask you is, have you been playing this warrior on ladder? Is this a deck that has been working for you, or is this just you submitted it here and you don't know why and you regret it now?
Uh, so other than playing 3 games of Shaman to complete a quest, this is the only deck I played to hit Legend this season.
Sure.
I think I might have played like Big Warrior on the first day or two of the expansion, but I got this list from Berserk, made a few tweaks to it, and this is pretty much the only thing I've been playing on ladder. I mean,
Fair.
it definitely struggles a bit in some matchups, but I think it's got some power to it, and I have a lot of experience with Control Warrior and that style of gameplay, so I feel like I can pilot it to a pretty decent win rate.
Hmm.
We were talking a little bit during the match about how Warrior matches up against some of the extreme power decks of this format, against Paladin, against No Minion Mage. How do you feel that Warrior stacks up against them?
Um, no Minion Mage is definitely one of the more interesting matchups because it requires you to be pretty flexible as the warrior player.
Hmm.
Um, because Deck of Lunacy completely shifts the dynamic of that matchup.
Right.
If your opponent doesn't play Deck of Lunacy, you really need to be pressuring them down and trying to win the game. Because there's enough burn in that deck that it's very, very hard to be able to outlast all of it. However, if they play Deck of Lunacy, it suddenly becomes a game where they've got probably 7 or 8 spells that make them boards, and if you're able to survive all of those, you win the game. But you can't play Rattlegore because they might have generated Soul Mirror or the Priest one commencement, I think. And if they play one of those, then you're going to lose.
Yeah, initiation, the 4 damage
yeah,
spell.
initiation. Commencement's the warrior. Yeah. I think against Paladin, it really depends on if you play Rattlegore before they play Liadrin. If they're making 10/10 hand recruits every turn, it's going to be pretty hard for you to win. If you're hitting them for 9 every turn, it's pretty hard for them to win. One of my sort of sideboards for the specialist is sort of tailored to beat Paladin. It's the second one with that Silas and Vol'jin
Yeah.
in there, just because those cards are so ridiculously strong against Paladin.
Right.
Yeah, and even the acidic swamp boost to deal with the secret weapon.
Mm-hmm. That was almost in there more in the case of like Poison Rogue or those things, but because I didn't want to run into someone bringing Poison Rogue and sort of shrug and go, guess I lose this one. So I wanted the oozes somewhere in there, and it definitely fit better in there because Paladin does have weapons you can hit with it.
Yeah, if you can
Now,
remove the 1/3 weapon, the secret weapon, that's a lot. That's a really good one to remove.
Definitely. I mean, especially because if you're able to remove it, it not only removes the tempo from them, but it also keeps the secrets in their deck.
Right.
and every secret in their deck is a card that you really want them to draw, as opposed to Leadrin or a Blessing of Wisdom.
Yeah, it's just drawing patches.
Mhm.
Now, one question is, I know that in your deck you aren't running the wheel weapon. I hear that it's really good though. Why aren't you playing it?
It's I will say it's a really good weapon. It just didn't quite make the cut in this Control Warrior list. Going forward, I'm going to be testing it, and it might make the cut in some future lists, but maybe not today.
Sure. I have one final question, and then we'll move on to our next match. But what I want to ask you is, we hear that nerfs are coming next week. What do you think should be nerfed?
Um, I mean, I think the obvious culprit is Deck of Lunacy. That the win rate of that card is ridiculous to the point that something needs to be done about it. I
Sure.
think with Deck of Lunacy nerfed, I'm also expecting something in Paladin to get nerfed,
Sure.
as well as Penflinger to probably get nerfed.
Okay.
Um, I also wouldn't be surprised if something in Control Warlock gets nerfed. Not because I think that deck is exceptionally powerful, but just because there's so much player outcry that whenever Ticketus is viable, you just see hundreds of people complaining about their decks getting burnt.
It's
That's
also a deck that's been around for so long.
yeah. It's 2 expansions now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deck. There's no real issue with power level at the highest competitive level, but it's such a feels bad move for a lot of people, and it's so swingy in terms of what gets burned that I could definitely see something happen to Tictus or one of the pieces around it in that.
Right. Um. Now, one. Do you have any shout outs? Anyone you want to thank? Anything you would like to say? The floor is yours.
I mean, I'd like to thank Berserk for giving me the Control Warrior deck list.
Sure.
I'd like to, I mean, shout out to my team. Everyone in there, I'm very, very happy with my decisions to pick for the team. I think they've all been doing very well. And best of luck to RoboCats in his match.
Yeah. RoboCats is coming in, so thank you, Nice Jewish Owl, for joining us for the interview and for playing on stream. Um, our next match is going to feature RoboCats, so still the same 2 teams. We're going to have RoboCats from Milo's Menagerie versus from Full Dust Value, G-Kick. This is a hero match, so very different. There's no warrior, but I think it's a very, very hype match. How do you feel about this one, Geranium?
Oh my god, there's so many unique, interesting decks that are being brought. We see one of the only hero power mages in the entire format of Last Hero Standing in this tournament. We have one of the only Broom Paladins that was brought. We have the Miracle Priest, the Rally Priest, all these from G-Kick. And it's not like Bunny isn't bringing some of the heat too. He's got the Token Druid, which isn't brought that much. I think only 3 people were running that. He's got a Deck of Lunacy Mage that is also running Cthulhu, which is an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
So really just lots of unique matchups going to happen.
Yeah, something to note here is the decks were submitted 36 hours into the expansion. These are not lists that most people are playing anymore. Like the mage has evolved a lot. No one's playing hero power mage. The Libram Paladin has evolved quite a bit. I think RoboCats has one big advantage, or Bunny has a big advantage, that a lot of his decks that he's bringing are closer to the final list that people are now playing on ladder and now pretty much used to. Versus G-Cake has a lot of experimental decks that it kind of works sometimes. Someone tried in the beginning and it was okay, but are they still good enough to be played? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, on Easter, I am going to have to give the edge to Bunny here, just because he's got even aggressive lineups in the decks that aren't necessarily run so much, and aggressive decks can just high roll and win some of these early games.
Right. Um. So we do know the bans here, and this was not what I expected. I expected G-Kick to ban the mage, but we have a double paladin ban, so we're not going to see the Libra.
Okay, I think that also seems perfectly reasonable. I think that the paladins are probably the most threatening on either side. It's just
Yeah,
that the no minion mage has the highest variance and can 30% of the time draw Deck of Lunacy on turn 2.
yeah, I would have wanted. I think the priest has more game against the paladin, so I would have wanted to face the paladin if I was in G-Kick's shoes. But at the same time, Libra and Paladin is the most broken deck right now, and the only thing holding Libra and Paladin back is actually Deck of Lunacy. Like if they were to nerf Mage without nerfing Paladin, Paladin's dominance of this meta would just be so insane. I just want to note that in HS Replay right now, the first class after Paladin and Mage has 47% win rate. We're talking day 1 Demon Hunter levels for some of these classes. So, this is not looking great meta-wise, and we know some changes are going to be made, but I understand the Paladin ban here.
Yeah, I will say don't count the Rally Priest out. Rally Priest has been seeing some great success at the highest ranks of Legend. I myself have had quite a lot of success with it all throughout the ranks. I actually think that it is a little bit better to see the no minion mage against that the Rally Priest, but really only slightly. They are both very insane decks to face.
Yeah, and with that, I believe we can give them the go. Yep, I just gave them the go since I think gone over the basics for this match. Yeah, I think this is a good match. These are both pretty good THL players, and we're going to get to see just a lot of effort from both sides, a lot of strong plays. I'm expecting us to learn something. Hopefully learn how to play that mage. I would love to see that mage. I want to see that mage win. Probably pretty bad, but I want to see it win.
Yeah, the hero power mage, if it gets that Mordresh, if it just absolutely copies the apprentices over and over, it could still steal a win.
Yes. Exactly. And I think so. Something to talk about here is what do you think about queuing? And I like to ask because different players have different approaches. Do you think queue order matters for hero? And what would you queue if you were in these players' shoes?
Oh, absolutely, queue order matters. I think that uh, my theory is that one of the more high rolly decks is better to go first because it's possible that you could just win your first game, win your second game, win your third game, be done. Um, and it's also possible that your opponent cues a high rolly deck. Maybe they don't make it there, and you're able to squeeze sort of a middle matchup out. So I think that the rogue is going to come out, maybe even for both sides. Uh, and then having one of your more consistent decks being the anchor, something to hold back and then send out against maybe their high roller deck, I also think is quite good. So I think the high rollers come first.
Sure. So as soon as the friend list lets me spec them, we will begin watching this game. The high rollers does make sense. I like a lot to see as well decks that you don't expect to get wins to go first, so you can bring the decks that you think are better. So we are going to start with the Token Druid, which has a Gibberling in hand and is going with the coin versus G-Kick's Rogue. You never want to face a Gibberling turn 1 as a Rogue.
Well, I mean, this rogue is going to have at least a prize plunder to deal with it, but honestly, this opening hand from the rogue doesn't look that great.
No. Meanwhile, if Robocats doesn't get anything else, This isn't an amazing hand either. He needs a nature studies or something, just something to do here. And we don't see anything right now.
This rogue is probably going to be waiting around the first few turns before anything turns online. But meanwhile, I mean, this Drew could just be off to the races. Thorgo sentries on 2, maybe even Gibberling on 2, coin the Power of the Wild. Lots of power.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I was RoboCats, I would be thinking of just, do I want to go wide now and just go Gibberling, coin, um, Thorngrowth sentries, and try to win the game from there? Because that is a way you win, just sticking a board that you can then play Power of the Wild. There's
It's
no.
honestly a little bit lucky. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
It's honestly lucky that the rogue isn't trying to tempo out a Wand Thief to deal with any early Gibberlings, because then we could even see the Lunar Eclipse come out and clear that, and get out another Gibbling, really just swing the board entirely.
Yeah. There's no great way, unless the rogue draws something that can proc their combos, there's really no great way to remove. Not the worst thing, but if the rogue had a backstab, this would go a lot better.
Or if the rogue put coin in their deck.
Yeah. That would have been pretty good. So you could go with a Wicked Stab, Prize Plunderer, Shadow Stab, Prize Plunderer, and that responds everything except for one. Which I think I like. We know the Druid's hand. There's actually not that much after this.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit of a wait before we can get to the Arbor up, but we're certainly not through the clear with the rogue here. Oh, especially with that Innervate top deck. Now, as long as we have much of any board, we're going to see quite a big turnaround with possibly Solar Eclipse and the Arbor up much later if we top deck even another bit of mana ramp.
Yeah. You the rogue is going to get a good chance to play the Kazakus here. Just throw a big body. The golems can be quite effective into Token Druid if they don't have a ton of tokens. And we know it's only going to be Arbor up. So you could go Divine Shield or even Rush. Yeah, this is one of the strongest combinations, I think. How do you feel about this golem?
Yeah, I think given the options that we're given, like there's no deal 3 damage to 2 different minions. I do think that the rush copy is the best one. Clear off as much of the board as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, though, with the board that's going to be created here with this Glowfly Swarm, I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, but he would need to innervate Glowfly Swarm. That's just four Glowflies.
Hmm.
Off
And we're going to hold back instead.
Holding back means there are two 5/5s on the
I mean, I could see maybe using the Lunar Eclipse onto the 3/3 and then Hero Powering Face, but yeah, I think holding the Innervate, using Glowfly Swarm on 5, making really as many of these 2/2s as possible is going to be insane.
right. This is a pretty strong board at the same time. I think G-Kick now has two 5/5s on the board. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of Glowflies. Um, isn't really a way to go Solar Eclipse Arbor up this turn. You can do it next turn.
So, Glowfly Swarm, if any of these stick, I mean, the Rogue doesn't have removal other than the minions that are already on board, then the Solar Eclipse and the Arbor is going to come out next turn. Ooh, the Prize Bundler pickup is very good, though.
Yeah, same for the One Thief. The One Thief can generate really good cards like Shooting Star can just be impactful. Those are some pretty bad trades. You could have left the 1 health goal fize alive.
Here, I mean, it's not going to be nearly lethal right off the bat, but still, 2/6/4s are going to clear off most of this board, and there's not going to be much follow-up from this rogue here after the double arbor up.
Yeah, Double Arbor Up is just such a strong play. Unless Secret Passage can do something nuts, which we know with Secret Passage it probably can, um, then it used to be a lot different when you played Flick in Rogue, because that gave you an edge specifically into this kind of board. You can remove all treants.
Yeah, I think really going to. I mean, Penflinger is one of the cards that we need to start clearing off this board, but with this little mana and these treants, it's going to be a tall order for Rogue to actually stop the lethal.
Yeah, there could be a double Brain Freeze. That could be good. That is not a bad Shadow
Oh,
Step. Just for 3 on the board, but that is a Prize Fury and a Power of the Wild that can come in next turn.
yeah.
You're going to need some insanity out of the second passage.
Looks like we're 2 off lethal right here,
Or
but
Nature
Nature
Studies.
Studies could.
Yeah. Just another Arbor Up would be game here.
And Lightning Boom actually, I think, brings us to 1 off lethal with
So
the hero power.
you could set it up and say you're a rogue, you have no taunt and no healing. No more lackeys means what can rogue do? Rogues really miss evil miscreant.
And in this case, the Kazakus has already been used, so there can't be any lifesteal golem shenanigans.
Yeah.
Both
Not
shadow
seeing a
steps with
great
the.
out.
Here we're not going to go to 1 off lethal, but honestly, this board is basically unclearable already.
Yeah. I think so. I think this is probably enough.
And unfortunately, Morshan Watch Post basically just -3 mana. Your opponent doesn't play minions anyway.
Yeah. One thief could be a interesting one. Yeah, going for the devolving missiles.
Evolving Missiles has to hit 3 different minions.
Yeah, and it has very specific targets. Honestly, that's
When it
pretty
hit the best
good.
3.
It did hit the best 3, but still don't win. Still dead. The fact that it gave a 2-1 means your opponent, or actually, yeah, they have lethal. Yeah.
With the hero power.
Yeah. Which I think it
Still,
means that that's game. Yep. Yeah, he did notice.
now this
So Rogue is
now
out.
this druid just gets to keep rolling through and see if G-Kick has anything that can stop it.
Yeah. And the Rogue, it wasn't the one you would expect for the Druid, but it is a good deck. And having the Rogue out means now that hero power mage and that very weird priest need to put in the work. The priest is not playing any AoE. I just want to note
Yeah,
that.
the priest does have to wait a few turns in order to get the lots of card generation online. But once it does start doing that, there is a lot of AoE in the priest class to then randomly generate. I think that this mage is probably going to have to get some early value here and clear these treants.
Right. Those are some good cards. Having the Death's Head Cultist, even the Wildfire could be a strong card into the.
I think, I mean, we have the wildfire, but we really need the apprentice. We need the board clears against these druid cards.
Yes. Getting the Apprentice would be great. You're the one who's more experienced with this deck, so I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about these chances here?
Well, I think that the mage doesn't have many chances, but if uh, if they can just get those few key pieces online, if they can get wildfire online, if they can draw their shooting star, if they can get um, their apprentice, and they have a chance. But Solarian without the shooting star, this is wildfire without the apprentice, and now a draw.
Yeah. Well, Babbling Book on 1 is always good. Maybe you can get, I don't even know what are still the AoEs that are in the game, but I'm sure there's something.
I think, I mean, there's some low cost AoEs, like I mentioned, shooting star before. There's 2 shooting stars in the deck, and then maybe one
Yeah.
can be generated off this babbling book.
I mean, you could get Arcane Explosion. I believe that's still in the game, right? Don't actually know.
I I unfortunately don't know whether Arcane Explosion is still in the game,
Yeah.
but shooting star is the card generated anyways. So
Yeah, so
babbling
that's
book
pretty
here.
good. Um, 2 mana 1/2 is fine. Good card. It can be played next turn. It can be played a bit later after the Glowfly Swarm if that gets dealt with.
Yeah, I think though that the Solarian and the shooting star on 3 is probably just going to be shutting down any of the early pressure that Robocats is putting out.
Right. Less is, well, we don't know if it was correct or not. It was not correct. The Ogre Master is a way to win. If you can play Coin Ogre Master on 4, a lot of times that wins the game because the Druid cannot play spells. And this Druid deck really does not like that.
Okay, I mean, with this draw, now that we actually have some of the pieces online and the druid hasn't yet gotten started up, I think we could actually have a chance with this hero power mage.
I think so as well. I think this is looking. It's a hero power mage, so it's not great, but it's looking better than I thought. I think you actually have a chance. The hero power is already buffed, so you can do some work with that. And you have the Death Head's Cultist putting a taunt in the way into Coin Ogre Mancer, depending on what he does. Could also just Solarian into Shooting Star. Like if they play Thorngrowth Sentries, Innervate Thorngrowth Sentries, you just have an insane clear with Solarian.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Solarian plus the shooting star this turn, and
Yes,
then the next turn is probably going to be Coin Ogremancer and just shut out the game.
I agree. I think that's your way to win, your ticket to victory, and it looks really good if G-Kick does that. Given the hand that we're seeing, is he not going to play the Solarian? He could not, but the
Interesting.
Solarian's
So
so good.
choosing instead to not play the Solarian, it still does a full board clear.
Yeah, but you want to get stuff out of the way. You want
Yeah,
to get
and having the
minions.
3/2 on board is also quite valuable.
Yeah. I guess the Ogre Master isn't bad at all. I can never say that. Especially into what you can play with it. And another guess that
And in
we've gone wrong.
this case, the opposite guess. and yet still wrong.
Yeah.
In that case, it was a 0-cost spell that was on top, the Lightning Bloom. So
Right. This Reckless Apprentice could be huge. If they don't Glowfly Swarm, double Innervate Power of the Wild, this is going to be very dangerous. But if they double Innervate Power of the Wild, there are a lot of skeletons on the. So this looks like a really, really sweet moment for G-Kick.
yeah, and even with the Glowfly Swarm and the Lightning Bloom and the Power of the Wild, it's going to be mostly clear with the Reckless Apprentice
Right.
and the Ogre swinging in and the different skeletons swinging in, and then all the pressure is going to be gone.
Yeah, this seems to have gone. Oh, this seems to have gone the way of the mage.
And it also doesn't looks like it's not going to stop the Alex Strauss is here to close out the game too. So it's not like the mage is running out of powerful turns to play.
Yeah. Going to see the play that we talked about with the Lightning Bloom into the Power of the Wild.
And a little bit is going to survive here, but unless you top deck specifically Arbor up, like there's not much that's going to be sticking around.
No, going with a different route here. Opting not to go for the Apprentice yet. Actually gets rewarded. That card works really well here.
This line was a bit more dangerous, but it's probably actually going to end up saving the Reckless Apprentice. It's going to end up being even better now
Yeah.
with this Arbor up being played.
Yeah, and he still cannot get to that Ogre Mancer. That's the issue here. How do you kill that Ogre Mancer? Um, each turn it lives, or each spell it lives, is another 2/2 skeleton. And those are killing your tokens and protecting the Ogre Mancer. That's why this card is such a nightmare for Druid to deal with.
You know, this might be just a 2/3s into the 2/2s and an almost pass from the Druid, and then right back at you, maybe even an almost pass from the Mage.
Yeah. Um, he is going for Innervate Arbor up, I think, which is a very bad play from what we can see. Um, Not that he would know it, but it kind of really exposes you. So he doesn't go for that. Let's see what the Druid opts.
Would not be surprised. Wow, Shooting Star
Yeah.
is great here. Would
Yeah,
not
the
be
Shooting
surprised.
Star.
Death Type Cultist, Shooting Star.
And One Maker just kind of end the game right now. You don't even need to play the Shooting Star. You could actually trade in with the 3/2, but that's not a good idea. And yeah, second.
Ooh, and finally a way to deal with the Ogremancer. But it's looking a little bit too little, too late.
Yeah.
Finally, an opportunity to double innervate out the hero power. Honestly, I think just keeping the innervates back as a bluff for the opponent, not knowing what spells are in your hand is maybe a bit better.
Yeah. I think this is just a really good play. You can keep controlling the board, and the it's just the eternal Ogremancer effect that having so many skeletons made you so resilient into your opponent's plan. I think this is over. We
I
might
mean, there
see
will
a
still be
Mordra.
some turns. There's still going to be a few turns to play it out, but honestly, it's going to be ended on turn 9 with the Alexstrasza before we can even get to Mordresh.
I want to see a Mordresh, but yeah, I've never seen the card played.
Yeah, we can BM a Mordresh.
Yeah, I really doubt this will happen knowing these players, but one can hope, right?
That's all we can do.
My guess is a very sweet animation. I don't know how it is, but I'm sure it's good.
Well, there's a few lethal outs that you can maybe look for off of this. Doesn't find any.
No, but the Potion of
Yeah.
Illusion is quite good here.
I mean, it's going to say to your opponent, you can't get on board. There's nothing you can do to get on board.
Yeah. Yeah, another series of hero power is just gonna kill your minion if you get to survive.
Any top deck would not provide you with even enough health to live through the second apprentice unless you got specifically the +1/+3 spell or another arbor up,
Right.
and those would not stop this.
No, I think he goes for the other cheeky lethal just with the hero powers instead of going for the Alex. But this is a win. This means G-Kick takes game 2 and the hero power wage actually beats the druid. Would you look at that?
I mean, Mage is just insane this format. Can't you agree?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of this mage, but sure. Yeah, I think the mage just better than people gave it credit here.
Maybe a hidden gem with the deck of Lunacy Mage running rampant on ladder, but deck of Lunacy Mage might run rampant in this game mode in just a second here.
Yeah,
I think that's probably going to be.
we're going to have to wait post nerfs because again, most likely coming in this week, given the high performance the deck of Luna is having. But we're going to have to see.
Now, I know that you ask a lot of the guests about the nerfs that they would like to see, but what do you think? What do you think Deck of Lunacy should become?
So I was talking to Baze about this. Baze wants the card to die. Just delete the card. No more Deck of Lunacy. I think it needs to be really high cost. I would actually change it to at 4 mana. It's unplayable. It's way too expensive, and that's my idea. Like if people want to play it for that chance of high roll and fun, go for it. But it shouldn't be something that's regularly played. And at 4, I don't think it's played. What would you do to it?
Yeah, I think the change to the effect is actually maybe more what I'm looking at,
Okay.
lowering the boost that you get to your spells, such that people can't regularly get 10 mana cost spells. I think that a lot of the power right now is from those 7 mana cost spells going to 10 and just
Yeah,
smashing
that
the
is
opponent
true.
over and over.
My one issue with that would be what the RNG could do in the future if different cards are brought out and it ends up working in different ways.
I, for one, very much looking forward to the change. It has been posted quite a few places of Deck of Lunacy changing to give your charge minions +1 attack. I think that would be a way that Blizzard would have nerfed the card way back in the past.
Yeah,
But
that would
getting
have
into
been a
this
fun one.
actual, getting into this actual game here, uh, we have the Rogue actually being brought from RoboCats. rogue that we might have expected to have seen game one, now coming out game three.
Yeah, I can see what he's like. The rogue does serve a purpose. It's not what I would have gone for, but this is fine. I
I
wonder
think that
if
the ping mage, the hero power mage, is going to have a hard time dealing with all the direct damage that this one can deal, whereas it had a great time dealing with the minion board presence of the druid. I think it is going to
sure,
be a harder matchup here.
sure. The one advantage here, I think, just this is a pretty slow deck, even for a rogue deck, that I think you can gain a lot of advantage by just playing a good mage deck or a mid-range mage deck. So I don't think this is that bad for this mage. Um,
I think we might be giving it a bit too much credit. It is still hero power mage, after all. It isn't the other main mage of the format. Uh, so rogue does okay. It does pretty well against the no minion mage, and then this is a step below that. That the rogue is now going to have, I believe, an easier time.
yeah, I think so. I think
I mean, here there's no extremely clean way to kill the venomous scorpid, but honestly, even just hero powering it down doesn't seem that out of the question.
yeah, I think you want to kill it. Um, you can 2-2 into it and hero power. You could even get your Aug Merchant out, but you want to Aug Merchant the Octobot. I think you're fine with both
Unfortunately,
plays.
unfortunately, the shadow step isn't the best on anything on this board, so the penflinger isn't a really good pick right now.
Yeah, the Flinger
But
is for later with that field contact. Right
next
now,
turn, though, wouldn't be entirely surprised to see a man crick plus the penflinger and shadow step.
yeah, Conjure Mana Biscuit is interesting here. I like this card because you might be needing for this match a bit of an earlier combo or some kind of combo than usual, and you could pull it out just because of Conjure Mana Biscuit.
Yeah, it allows some insane plays like double apprentice into the potion of illusion
Right.
because you can get the 12 mana with the mana biscuit.
Yeah, I apologize if there's barking. My dogs have decided to bark right now, and there isn't too much I can do to stop them.
I mean, they're just very excited for this match,
Yeah,
just like we are.
I think so. Um, I'm expecting to just see the Aug Merchant here just used as an activator and maybe just
Yeah. It's a
basically
bit
skip
unfortunate
the
that there's
mana.
no other spell because the Guardian Og Merchant would probably be better saved to go with one of the other power cards, just to stop some of the removal. Just because a lot of the removal that the mage has larger damage coming through it, but
Yeah,
it's still fine here.
yeah. And could just see a ping. Okay, no, not wanting to ping here. I'm preferring to play the combustion. I really don't like it because I think A, you want to ping because you want to try to combo early if you can. And B, not only you want to ping for that, you want to ping because you can keep your combustion for combustion plus ping later.
Yeah, the combustion is going to be very good at removing a lot of the smaller health minions on the rogue's board. And there was an already very good ping to be had. You leave the 1-3 with 2 more health, but that doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Mankrik and a lot of flingers coming out for draw here. You could shadow step your own Mankrik and get another Okra Mankrik's wife, on the board.
I think that's going to be the final play of this turn. Is Shadow Step, Mankrik into Mankrik.
I think so. I would expect that to be the play because it feels pretty good if you do that.
Instead, maybe going for some more mana discounts.
Do you need it?
Nope, but we'll see it.
I guess. This feels like overkill to me. I think I like to say this a lot. We think of Schoolstone as a place where people can bring their ideas and we're going to talk about it and say what we feel the players have been doing right, what the players have been doing that we don't fully agree with. And I think a big thing is just thinking about resources for future turns. Like, what would you like to keep and why? And why using certain resources at the wrong time could just put you in trouble. And I think this is a place where that has happened.
Yeah. In this case, the hand is already pretty low cost. I mean, a lot of the higher cost cards that are in the rogue deck just haven't been drawn yet.
Yeah.
So getting more discounts isn't necessarily as good as just getting even further and further ahead on this board.
Right.
And we're gonna Penflinger, but now to return the Penflinger, we also have to activate this Ogremancer's ability.
Yeah. Could be another
So
flinger.
oh,
Reducing the cost of the hand again, and then playing the Wicked Stab. This makes sense as a play. It's pushing a lot. You're putting a lot of minions. You're pushing damage. The Reckless Apprentice is really good, especially if you can get the other wildfire, um, because that would get your combo online.
yeah, a little bit unfortunate. The Wand Thief is coming down closer to the end here. Um, both means has less time to decide on the Wand Thief, and also um, that the spell that the Wand Thief would have gotten can't be used during the turn.
Right. Now this hero power, pretty good here, clearing basically a lot of the minions. I've wanted to see this AI for a while now because I think you need to draw, and G-Kick has not been drawing, so I would hope he takes the time to play this AI, but I could see him trying to think of the Devolving or the Wand Maker. I would say that's a mistake. Okay, it does finally go for the AI. The tail end means you can get the combo on 10 if that's what you're going for.
And I think that's what we're probably going to need. We're running out of board clears.
Yeah, it is a way to clear the board. If you can get Mordresh Fire Eye down, you're probably winning, and we know it is active.
In this case, it's probably going to be even a bit more setup from this rogue here, playing the Swindle, playing the Wand Thief. Still haven't found a lot of the extreme power cards here, but a lot of the damage has been found instead.
Yeah, so many pings. Just the Wicked Stab is
And
there.
the problem here is that the rogue isn't sending all that much damage face, so
No,
rogue is going to have to start closing it out.
they're just dealing 1-2 damage each turn, playing slow. You have to play an Og Merchant and kind of say, let's see if I can do anything with my minions now. If not, it's fine. It's kind of what your opponent wants here, really. Just doesn't want you to win. Okay. Going for the
Notably, the if the Talon did draw the Mordresh, it would still only cost 10. The Far Watch Post does not increase the mana above 10, so still playable.
right.
But still, I mean, this rogue has been just clearing minions all day. So 2 more minions for the rogue to clear is maybe going to put them in a bind.
Yeah, the rogue doesn't have prize plunder. Sorry, it's such a hard word to say. They don't have prize plunder. They just have the pen flingers and a 0 mana passage. They could passage to try to see if they can get something like Jandis that could put a threat, or they can get their plunders finally. I think we're going to see double pen flinger to the face and then secret passage, hoping to get something. Nope. Prem session.
Okay. Oh, and there's a prize plunder too. Okay, so sending all this damage face, we can finally start actually pressuring this mage.
Yeah.
And with the brain freeze and the prize plunder, we're still actually dealing with the board instead of having to use all of our pens and our minions to trade.
So this could be just a Talon and hero power, and then say I'm going to clear your board next turn no matter what. Which I kind of like. I could also see the devolving just trying to deal with some minions.
Honestly, you're not going to get that much of a decrease in power with the devolving here.
And you could reduce the attack of the 3/7. But this could be, I don't know what Kazakus would be lethal. For 5 mana, you could take Rush and give everyone +2/+2. Is that lethal? Probably.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's 1 over lethal to do
Okay.
that. But I think actually, I mean, this is now a fine time to just remove some minion pressure because next turn, with this Wicked Stab ranking up, if you just send a little bit of damage face, you can very
Oh, yeah.
easily get a lethal.
Yeah, that's the other way you can do it. I think, honestly, G-Kick mistimed a lot of cards. This is not an easy deck to play. Um, there are a lot of decisions, and I think he just thought he had more time than he actually did.
Looks like we're going for the 10 mana golem, not trying to get lethal here.
Interesting. I don't like it. Really don't. Don't think you need it.
Well,
So we get to see the Mordresh animation that I was curious about.
it turns out though that it's just going to be lethal, even with the Mordresh coming down right now. Uh, and clearing the entire board
Yes.
and dealing 10 damage face, we have 12 damage at
Yeah,
least coming from this rogue.
that's
10
true.
flingers.
Um, not sure why he doesn't want to play it.
Even more wildfires.
I really have not been getting some of these, but maybe that's just me. Have the mana to do it. Why not? Yeah, you know you're probably dead to flingers, but still, you should try it.
Even just the Alexstrasza, your own face. But in this case, it's unfortunate Wicked Stab in the hand, going to close it out.
Yeah.
Definitely consideration for Robogats to maybe keep it lower on the mana, but I mean, drawing Shadow Step off of the Swindle means that there's no mana concerns.
Yes.
We're just getting lethal.
Yeah. And here we have Mage losing for G-Kick, leaving G-Kick only with that Rally Priest. So you
Now,
said you've been playing a lot of that deck.
yeah, I even played it in last year's standing format on stream a few days ago, and my Rally Priest defeated the Rogue. So we'll see if that's an exact repeat here. If we get that the spell generation online, if we get a lot of life gain, if we get a lot of buffs,
Right.
then we're seriously going to see this Rally Priest pop off. But this Rally Priest needs to search for the minions early.
Yeah. Do you keep palm reading?
I honestly just mulligan for the minions. The Insight, or the 2 mana 2/3, or the 3 mana 2/5. All three of those, you need those as early as possible to start comboing off, getting the rally online.
Fair. G-Kick did choose to keep one palm reading. That can be good if you have a lot of spells, because you do want them to cost 0 if you can, but it isn't a minion.
Unfortunately, because we don't have the early game minions, a lot of these cards aren't as valuable. So Power
Right.
Word Feast certainly isn't. You aren't going to get the extra bonus effects from playing your Hysteria, from playing your Holy Smite.
Right. And the Lucia is not actually that important here. But you can get a cheaper palm reading for the moment where you draw that Sethic.
Yes, definitely. Palm reading is going to be good. It's just not going to be as good as more card draw or the minions might have been.
Sure. It's
We'll have to
interesting.
see how quickly this rogue comes out the gate. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of a fast start here with the Long Thief and then the Mancrick next turn. I'm not sure the
Yeah.
priest is going to be able to deal with it.
Are they going to play Aug Merchant, one Thief, and then Mancrick, or are they just going to Hero Power and say, you're a priest, you're so slow, I can deal with it later?
I would be very scared of giving the priest time.
Mm-hmm. Um, I don't think I want to remove anything, which is weird. I think I just want to Hero Power their face, and the light shall burn you.
Unfortunately, Tyrande has been nerfed, does not have the Light Shall Burn You.
That's really unfortunate.
Not even a hero power to bluff the hero power reduced cost giant that's been rotated out many years ago.
Yeah. Or just Hero Power your opponent's face again, but I really want to see that Mancrick. It's just such a good timing for it right now. Um, the Octobot isn't that bad, given what we know, but I wouldn't go for it. I think Mancrick is just mana efficient. He gets it. It's going to be a 3/10 on your opponent's face at some point, which is always good.
There's
Yeah.
maybe a consideration for the arcane intellect, but really I think developing on board against this priest is going to be much better. It's Mancrick doesn't die to the hysteria, that is the main
Right.
board clear for priest. So just pressure, and hope your priest opponent doesn't start getting online.
Yeah. If he plays a 2/4 Watch Post and just passes or hero powers, actually Hysteria looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is where you now need to, as the rogue, probably pump the brakes and stop playing minions. But it does still look quite good to keep playing.
Yeah. Going for that Octobot. So here's an interesting play. If you play Power Word Feast on the Mancrick and then Hysteria, you clear the board and kill the Mancrick, which I actually really like. So you buff their own minion and then you Hysteria their own minion, and the board is clear. And then you can just heal yourself with Renew or play one of the Thrive in the Shadows to discover something. Not going for that play. Um,
I don't mind it. It means that you now have to use maybe Holy Smite in addition.
yeah, you can
But the
discourage.
Power Word Feast is very good once you start getting your Sephics.
Yes, for sure. So is Rally, but you need your minions. You don't have them right now. Where's that Sethic if you want to win?
Where's your insights as well? I mean,
Jandis is a good draw.
yeah. Now with all this draw, because there's been an insane amount of draw so far from the Rogue, getting to the power cards and probably going to close out the game quite soon. Still not finding any minions means that this priest is not looking great.
No, definitely not. What would Lucia accomplish here?
I
You could
mean,
reduce the cost of your own hand, but then they're going to play all your stuff and you're going to lose.
you can take the Wicked Stab and clear off their Octobot, and
I guess.
just about it.
They're going to rally though. They can rally into Forward Feast. I don't like the
You can
solution.
rally Powered Feast, and even Holy Smite your Lucia. Just removing all the ways you can get back on tempo.
Right. Rally would mean a Mancrick and either I think it's a tower, right? Is that a guaranteed tower?
No, because there's also the Octobot.
There's the Octobot, which is also really good to get. I don't think you're mad about either of them.
Yeah, and then you also still get either a 2/1 or a 1/2. I mean, just use a little bit of extra stats.
Right. This looks really, really good for Robocats.
And you know that your opponent doesn't have the Hysteria, so you're fine with going wide.
Yeah.
And I think the Powered Feast on the 1/2 here is probably the best, just to play around the Holy Nova that you know your opponent has. But honestly, just making that Kirk as big as possible isn't that bad either.
Mm-hmm. So there's the inside, which is a pretty important piece if you want to still try to win.
Actually, I'm going to go back on what I just said. I think actually the Powered Feast on the Mankrik is not good, also because the Priest has Powered Death, and that turns Powered Death on for the Mankrik. So I would have really rather have seen it on the Wand Thief there.
Sure. Yeah, this is not looking great. We can see a Jandis in hand. We can see an Octobot. I'm not scared at all of this. I know my opponent's hands. I feel like at this point, this is basically over.
Yeah, I mean the Priest got a peek into how they're going to lose, essentially.
Yeah, as long as they don't draw... Basically, they need perfect draws for the next few turns and perfect RNG. Then it might be possible for them to win, but that they'll get it. Don't know what that
Interesting.
brain freeze is trying to accomplish.
Well, I think they're trying to remove the Brain Freeze from their hand because they know their opponent got a second to Lucia off of the raise den.
I guess. I don't even know if they want to play that.
I mean, it removes the opportunity for the Priest to Lucia into both Brain Freezes and really make a big tempo swing back.
Sure. They could go with a field contact, though, and them pulling the miracle here. Especially if you are going to brain freeze your own Octobot.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that they did not Brain Freeze their own Octobot because that would have meant that the Lucia can steal the Jandis and play it.
Yes. Well, not just the Jandis, but the whole thing. Like, they can do a lot if everything is cheaper.
I mean, it depends, of course, on what the Rogue has on top of their deck, but
Yeah.
with the Lucia played only 4 mana left, I think just the Jandis would have been the clear target.
Yeah. Now, this over? That's the question that I think we're all asking. I don't think they've won yet, but it's getting close. Really close.
Yeah, it depends on what the secret passage has. There could be lethal if we send the Wicked Stab Face and secret passage into uh, Penflinger, into another Wicked Stab, but just going for the safer option.
Sure.
And here, yeah, really want to see the Janus be played just to even take it away from that Elucia.
I would have gone for the Brain Freeze first because it's free. Um, ooh, that would have
Oh.
been lethal actually.
I believe there. I believe you actually would have gotten it off the secret passage, which means that you would have had the bug again, where you wouldn't have been able to play it and get lethal.
Oh, but I mean, right now, if they didn't have like if they had Egg Wind, it could have actually been lethal with spell damage and everything.
There wasn't another way to actually draw
Right.
the card.
So trying to pull the miracle here, you can play 1 mana Field Contact and try to go crazy with your opponent's deck. Kind of the only thing you can do. You need to clear everything because you know they have a lot of damage in hand. They can go Sethek, they can do
Actually, there wasn't a way to get lethal last turn. I forgot that the previous Lucia had also stolen a Wicked Stab,
Oh,
but
true.
we're just going to see as much as possible coming out, trying to get rid of all the cards in the opponent's deck before it's too late. And we're also going to see this spell damage effect go on to the next priest minion. Could work out with this Holy Nova.
Does it go to the next minion or does it go to the next minion the rogue draws?
Well, it goes into the next minion in the deck, but the deck is currently the priest's deck for the rogue. So then once it switches back, it will be the next minion the priest draws.
Right. Well, there is lethal for the rogue though. Right? Or did I miscount? No, there's lethal. Forward Feast into Apotheosis. Holy Nova doesn't go face anymore. It used to, but ever since the nerf, it didn't go face, and that's not going to work anymore.
Ever since they tried to buff it to make the priest classes core set better.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
But
better core set, but
does Robocats not see it?
I don't know if he sees it or if he's just playing and taking a little while.
Looks like he's
Nope.
going to miss lethal, unfortunately.
Yeah. He
But I
does.
don't think it's actually going to matter.
No, it's probably not. Unless something really crazy changes, it's not mattering. Priest needs Renew to give them the perfect card, which is not Holy Nova or
Priest
Desperate Prey.
Priest kind of needed Zyrella, but I mean, Desperate Prayer is going to meet it, so it's not lethal, but not lethal is not winning.
Yeah, we do have an update from RoboCats who messaged me saying that Ilusha is making his brain hurt. And yeah, I do feel him.
So while we can't exactly find lethal, we can certainly set it up. Uh, Clear off the Elucia so that there's no Apotheosis target that you know your opponent has. Play the Wand Thief to get more mage burn.
Yeah, could also just go Kazakus and try to do something with it. Like get a 5 mana golem that does stuff.
I think none of these are that great of options.
No.
But
Give
definitely
me.
they give other minions +2/+2 is.
Yeah. Flurry can actually be good. Not that it will matter. I don't see a way that you lose anyways.
It actually Flurry is actually great here because it allows the misses playing it though. It allows the apotheosis to not mean anything basically.
Sure,
No heal then.
that's fair. I don't think that will change the result of the match. That's it. Um, RoboCats wins this match. Bunny winning against G-Kick. 3-1. I wouldn't say this is a surprise since he did have the more accurate decks given the meta, but a really good match from both sides. Some misplays here and there. I think there were a few times where they could have just planned their turns better, and a few times where the rope got me too scared, but this was a pretty interesting match.
Yeah, there was a little bit of some turns where people drew last. There were some questionable trades, but honestly, just some really great play though on the other side of it. Definitely some plays that I didn't see.
Yeah. I am getting RoboCats for an interview whenever available. I think this puts Octathlon in a really interesting spot with just a lot of teams going forward and really good results from Milo's Menagerie. That team won 2 matches today.
2 matches on stream right after the other even. Milo team captain leading, and then the Easter Bunny closing out.
Yeah. Sorry again, my dogs are barking a lot today. For some reason, they've decided to interrupt stream, but I am adding Bunny here right now.
Could it be maybe they're hunting dogs? They sense that a rabbit is close.
It could be. I mean, it is Easter after all. We do have a
It's a
rabbit
very
on
festive.
stream on Easter.
I mean, I certainly have some Easter questions for
Sure.
him once he gets on.
I mean, I'm sure they'll be welcome. Congratulations, RoboCats or Bunny or Darren, for winning today's match.
Thank you. Is Owl? Oh, Owl's not here. Oh, that's a
No,
bummer.
Owl was here
He
for
would,
the first one.
but the Grapes guy is.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
My name
That
my name's
those
Geranium. Nice to meet
games.
you,
Oh, I missed
Mr.
Lethal Game 1. Did
Mr.
you guys
Social
see that?
Media. You missed Lethal in the last match with the Priest as well.
Oh, oh, I did.
Lucia made your brain
I would say I'm
hurt,
surprised, but I'm not.
if, if you had
Yeah, that was
played both,
really
but yeah,
tough
there was
series.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Yeah,
the
I
decks were
didn't
pretty
even.
hard to play.
Yeah, I didn't even notice how low they were. Like with the priest one, I was thinking so hard, trying to figure out how the hell to play around a Lucia. Like I could, like I was so confused. Like trying to think like what should I play against a Lucia, and yeah, played not the best. And then like I didn't even realize that they were so low. Like I hit them in the face once, and I was like, what the heck? They're at 6. So yeah. There's probably a time where if I had just looked at their life, I could have realized that they were so low. And then with the token druid, game 2, it's kind of silly of me forgetting to I should have just played guess the wait on turn 3 because I forgot that like if I play all my spells, then Glowfly Swarm's not gonna give a big board. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a pretty bad play.
Yeah.
I mean, against the mage though, there was so many board clears to deal with all of your
Yes.
minions that one
That
more swarm minion would not have added them.
The mage drew really well against you. Um, so I have a question, a more general question. You actually lined up pretty well with what is the current meta. Did you have good guesses? How did you reach close decks to what is actually being played right now on ladder so early into an expansion?
Um, so there's this cool website called HS Replay, and then if you go to the meta thing and filter by legend or
Sure,
whatever, it gives like this nice thing that like has the top decks at the top and the bottom, the bad decks at the bottom. So
that
then you
is
just take the
true.
top decks because those ones are good, and you don't play Rally Priest Keck doubly. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm sorry.
H's
How dare
replay was
you?
the way I chose decks for a very long time. Um, I know Avi doesn't do that. Avi loves his weird decks.
Okay, don't. Abby's not a role model for choosing your decks.
That is true. That's certainly true. Um, I want to ask you, what have you been enjoying playing this expansion? Is there a deck that you find fun? Something that you really like? Something that you brought or didn't bring that you wish you had?
I don't know. I played a lot the first couple days. It was just fun winning with like all the really powerful decks when other people were playing bad decks. So, I could win a lot,
Sure,
but I don't think there's really any decks I really enjoy that much more than others.
that's fair.
What was
Um,
the decision to uh, ban the paladin over the rogue in this matchup? I felt like either one could have been the ban.
Yeah, it's pretty much HS replay too. Um,
fair.
and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably like it was pretty marginal. I could ban whatever as
Mhm.
long as it wasn't the mage. Pink
Yeah.
mage.
The mage won again.
Yeah, that was the one game that he won, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously just the best deck. I should have banned that one.
I
True.
mean, it's just hero power mage is OP. Heard it here first. Throw out disenchant deck of lunacy and just play hero power mage.
Yeah, you might hear it here last as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, Bunny, what is a bunny like you doing on Easter?
Nothing. I'm not Christian.
Even even just playing Hearthstone, festive event
Okay.
for all.
Nothing special. I watched
Uh,
the LEC. What was it? Rogue versus Schalke. That's a League of Legends European.
I don't know what I
yeah,
don't watch or play League of Legends.
League of Legends is a video game, kind of like Hearthstone.
Oh,
I
I
don't know
know
if
what it is.
yeah, you know that Lotus Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how much of a boomer,
I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that
I'm
old.
joking.
uh,
no, no. The only boomers we'll have will be the bombs people draw on Wild.
Okay.
um, so I have one final question before we close the show for today. I want to ask you, Darren, if you have any shout outs, do you want to thank anyone, anything you want to say here?
Um. Hmm. No. I don't know.
Sure.
Who should I shout out? You tell me.
I mean, you can shout
Milo.
out to
Milo,
Milo.
because he's
Yeah,
the uh team building legend.
Sure.
We like all of our team except for like Damon Kick that while you is like 11 times star bonus game. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming for you guys. Milo's Menagerie.
Keep an eye
shout out
out.
to HS Replay as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Stats. Stats are cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, you've been making quite a lot of great stats on THL's Discord, so
Oh yeah.
glad for that too.
Okay. Bye bye guys.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Darren. I want to thank everyone who played today. I want to thank Darren one more time. I want to thank G Kick. I want to thank Bone Master And I want to thank Milo for playing on Schoolstone. If you would like to play on Schoolstone, it's very easy. You can just DM me, DM Saku. Schoolstone is always looking for any THL afternoon match. Saku has the nighttime matches, but you can DM me and I'll direct you to him. Um, there's a lot of time if you would like to play on stream, so just hit us up. I promise it's a low pressure and a lot of fun environment. That being said, I think that is it for today. Thank you, Geranium Battle, for casting with me. I hope you had fun in your first CHL cast.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very enjoyable. Got to see a lot of great plays, a lot of unique matchups, and very fun talking about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Thank you all for watching. Um, have a great Easter. Have a great weekend, and there will be. I am actually playing on stream in 2 hours. So if you want to see me, you can see me then. See y'all later.
And thank you guys for having me. I'll have to play better next time. Next time I'm on stream.
Our pleasure.